And now all I'm hearing is Dr. Evil. I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver.
Yes, the CIA actually did use that song to torture people, so there you go.
Oh man.
Shoot the Core Cast.
Welcome to Shoot the Corecast, the official companion podcast of the RF Generation Shmup Club. This is a family-friendly shmup-themed podcast that blasts your ears with a full frontal audio assault so you won't notice our low-resolution replays. I'm Addicted, also known as Addicted to Shmups, and with me as always,
MetalFRO, also known as Game Boy Guru. And if you would like to connect with the podcast, you can do so in a number of ways. You can follow us over on X, formerly known as Twitter, at ShootCoreCast. You can also follow me there at Game Boy Guru. Find us on Blue Sky as well. Look up Shoot the Corecast there. You can find all the links to our socials and feeds through our Linktree page. That is linktr.ee/shootthecorecast. And if you would please do all the algorithm things, subscribe, rate, review, follow, etc. on whatever podcast platform you use. I would highly encourage everybody to listen to the podcast on my YouTube channel, because hopefully that will give us double engagement and help me grow my YouTube channel. And also join our Discord server, because that is, of course, where we do most of our engagement. And then you can follow me on Twitch to get notifications of new streams, because I do stream the Shmup Club Game of the Month multiple times every month, and that is twitch.tv/GuruGameBoy.
very nice. Well, I'm going to put this out here. I have not had any time to do the focus shot. I had to do some real-life routing, which absolutely sucks. Adulting routing is just terrible. I don't recommend it for anyone. I survived jury duty, and then, jury duty, some broken bones for not me, some of my family, and then had to deal with 2 rounds of the flu. So, absolutely do not recommend it. Play DFK instead, or at the very least, go play Mars Matrix.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I was hoping to get a little bit of time into DFK this past month, but honestly, I just haven't had much time. We've had some stuff going on at work that actually caused me to not be able to stream at all this past week as we record. And also, I have been trying to practice the game that was overwhelmingly voted the top choice in the poll I put out for what game I should play for Shmup Slam 8, and I'm kind of getting destroyed. So we'll see how it goes over this next month, but if I don't make much progress or show signs that I'm actually getting somewhere with it, I may have to punt and pivot to a different game. So I've been doing that. Plus, I'm trying to, in times when I've got an opportunity, actually put some time into my Switch 2. And so I did finish Donkey Kong Bonanza and got through the main story in that. And then just in the little bit of time that I had yesterday and today, in between life stuff, I started up Metroid Prime 4, and I'm already enjoying that. But yeah, I also had my first experience going to the opera yesterday, which was pretty cool and rather illuminating. And then I don't remember if I mentioned this last time or not, but I'm also I'm also going to be in a local musical theater production here where I live, and so I'm going to be playing Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. And actually, I didn't get much time to do anything else earlier because I was at practice and doing singing practice alongside some of the other cast members. And that'll be what I'm doing tomorrow night as well. So I won't even get to start streaming the next game until Tuesday night, since we're recording this here on Sunday night. So anyway, life has been very busy for both of us, it seems.
Yeah, if you do get into Dodonpachi the musical, I'd like to see it. Record that one.
Oh yeah, Dodonpachi the musical.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's just people running around going, bees!
Yeah, I, if Mark has musical talent, we'd have to ask him to write it. But if not, then we may have to, try and marshal some folks from around the Schmupposphere to help us realize that dream.
I think that Mark MSX has been channeling in his inner Max Headroom, because he always seems to be stuck in the CRT somewhere out in a wasteland.
Oh, that's true.
Perhaps he could actually go as that for Halloween, right? Like, remember that guy who was caught on Ring cameras delivering CRTs to people and leaving them on their front porch? That was probably Mark.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hopefully by the time we get the next episode recorded, which I'm hoping won't be too terrible long after we get this one done, since we're a little behind, that either of us will have had a little bit of time to play some DFK.
Yeah, I definitely have it. The other problem, too, is that I also recently got a Switch 2 for the family, and I didn't realize how long it would take to get everything going. It took like 6 hours to charge all the batteries and all the units in order to put them next to each other, and I'm still doing this, trying to load all these e-cards and stuff. It's like, when did this become such a big issue? I used to be able to just download the game. I feel like I'm turning into Andy Rooney. What's the big deal with airline food? All right, so no, it just was such a huge ordeal to charge up the switches that we have to copy stuff over. Then I realized, oh crap, I forgot the memory card, and get that in. It's like, this is supposed to make things easier. That's why I like console game, where you could boot things up and play. I didn't realize I had to wait a Time Life book's worth for delivery here. It's just frustrating. Anyways.
Yeah, the data transfer process from the Switch to the Switch 2, if you have a lot of games, it does take a long time, sadly.
Yeah, it did, and then it started yelling at me saying that everybody could be transferred over because they have to have Switch accounts. It's all right. Anyways, I get what Nintendo is trying to do for some of the stuff, but look, the PS5 was pretty darn simple. It's like, hey, look, right. You got games. Sign in. Hey, look, you got a game. Stick it in the drive. Done. Yep. Maybe for the next console, the Switch 3000 or whatever it is, things will be a little bit easier. So, let's move on to the shmup news that everyone could use. The recent update to Karos from Milestone and RS-34 has launched on Steam as of January 22nd, and the Japanese physical copies have been shipping for weeks. There's no word on a Western physical publisher picking it up for distribution yet. If I had to guess, it will probably either be something like a strictly limited, maybe Red Art Games might do it since they've got a presence in both, or it could fall back to Limited Run, which they've been doing all sorts of just weird. I think Limited Run just has to, like the Spanish Inquisition, just pull out some random titles from here. Because it's just like, okay, plumbers don't wear ties. Yep, everyone needs that. Let's go.
Well, given how they fumbled the ball with Radigy Swag, I think we can safely say that it won't be dispatch games.
Oh yes, it feels weird living in it feels like living in a parallel world or something odd has happened. Maybe we're stuck in the Twilight Zone or something, where Paprium actually shipped, but dispatch games did not.
Right. Let's see. Z Gyuban, released on Steam January 19th from Yogurt Neko. It is a twin-stick shooter that looks like a Pocky and Rocky-inspired affair with some puzzle-solving elements. You destroy tiles on the floor as you take out enemies, and once you reach a 75% destruction threshold, you move on to the next level. So it almost looks like Pocky and Rocky with a little bit of Kicks DNA in there. So, could be interesting.
Probably some cat hairs in there too, I assume.
Huh.
I don't want cat hairs in my yogurt.
Nor do I.
Gigadyne Voltrade is a single-stage vertical Damaku game made for the TWG Discord's 4th game jam. It's from developer Bibulus and can be downloaded from the dev's itch.io page. You know, that was a bunch of good word soup. I like names like Voltrade. We've got Gigadyne Voltrade seems like it could be made by a Capcom game on the CPS2 in the early 2000s, right? Along with 1944 and Mars Matrix, we have Gigadyne Voltrade. Either that or maybe it's on the ZN1, where the PlayStation hardware, where they ended up doing Techromancer. Well, I think there was also is either the sequel or the original one. The Rival Schools was on that, and they also did the Techromancer or Star Gladiator. No, sorry, Techromancer. They did on there, but the one I'm thinking about is Star Gladiator. I believe Star Gladiator was on it. Right. Yeah, you know, that's the same one that our friend of the channel here did a special for the System 12, that same sort of PSX family for Dancing Ides with DJ Psycho M1.
Oh, yes. White Ninja Studio posted an update to the Kickstarter page for Irina Genesis Metal Fury. It seems that Mega Cat Studios is no longer planning to handle the physical release of the game as was previously arranged, so the dev team is looking for a new partner to step in. The updated Rising Force demo has not yet dropped, so the full state of development is not known, though devs in the official Discord say that the game is progressing still and is nearing completion, though the updated demo release may yield additional feedback from backers. And unfortunately, it seems like they kind of go underground a little bit. Several of us in the Discord have asked them about the updated demo, and they keep saying, yep, it's going to drop, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm still hoping this thing does fully see the light of day, but I'm a little annoyed at how long it's taking.
That's understandable. Sorry, I meant understandable from your end. Right. Horde, or Horda in Portuguese, is a new 2D vertical shooter on Steam from developer and publisher Master. It released on December 30th, 2025. Very nice. Another Steam game for me to purchase and then forget I even bought.
Yes, that seems to be the thing. Amogus Danmaku from developer YOLO Yi123 is a free browser-based shooter with the Amogus character as the playable avatar. The game can be played at the developer's itch.io page. No downloadable version is available.
It's weird for them not to include an actual download version, but hey, a free game is a free game. Yes. Battle for Ascion is a new horizontal shooter in a classic style with a twist. There are no traditional sprites or graphics in the game. Rather, as the game would suggest, all on-screen assets are made up of various ASCII characters. If released on Steam on February 6th, looks like a shmup analog to old ASCII-based exploration games like Kingdom of Cross or ZZT. Oh, yes. I remember ZZ Top. They were fantastic.
Yeah, I played both Kingdom of Kroz and ZZT back in the day, and this actually looks quite cool. So I'm gonna have to pick this one up because that would hit me in the feels, as the kids would say.
As the kids would say. Back in my day. Oh, boy.
Yes, back in my day, we had pixels and we liked them.
They make it sound like that intro joke. Welcome to Shoot the Corecast, where we play games older than our mortgages. All right.
Yes, we do.
Yes, the Thunder Force 4 Vocal Odyssey project released on January 30th and is a 52-minute playthrough of the game featuring the game's original sound effects, but overloaded with a full cover of the game's soundtrack complete with symphonic, electronic, and heavy metal backing tracks. It is a few new voice narration bits as well as some vocal elements with original lyrics that relate to the game. It's free to watch on the Vocal Game Orchestra YouTube video channel. For fair warning, it is an AI music project, so those with aversion to such things can skip it. Yeah, it depends upon what generation of AI we're talking about. If it's like Will Smith, the original video of Will Smith eating spaghetti on there, I will gladly skip it because that gets into really creepy, like Slenderman stuff. But the other one, that might be worth a new shot.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the whole thing, and I felt like it was worth watching at least once. But even as big a fan of Thunder Force 4 as I am, I probably wouldn't go back to it over some of the other covers that people have done. VGNY Soft is doing a PS5 physical release for Wings of Blue Star, the indie shmup from developer Shinu Real Arts. Even though the game is available digitally on Switch, no such version has been announced yet.
The new Formation Z remake from City Connection and Granzella now has a release date set for May 21st across all platforms. It includes Switch 2, Xbox Series, whatever that is. Xbox, everything's an Xbox, so it releases on everything. PS5 and PC. Physical editions will be available, including a limited edition that will include a digital soundtrack and a figure of the main mecha from the game. Limited run games will be handling the Western releases and physicals for Switch 2 and PS5. This will include deluxe edition with CD soundtrack artwork, reversal cover, and mecha model kit. That's a heck of a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
None of it interesting in me, but that's okay.
Oh, right. Shmup Boss from Ebal Studios released on Steam January 7th and is a basic pick-up-and-play vertical shooter. It has a colorful, cartoony look to it, and according to the dev, is a good introductory game for the genre. It appears to have both classic and Danmaku inspiration.
Yeah, classic and Danmaku inspiration is just sort of like a weird way to put stuff. Some people I picture that meme, why not have both? And they're both as good. But it always puzzles me a little bit. It's like, it's classical and Danmaku. Like, this is... Or it just causes confusion in my brain the same way when says, yeah, we're just using classic AI.
It's classic Maku.
And it's like, okay, well, show me when you're using new age AI. Or maybe we can come with spicy or caliente AI. It's like, what the heck? It's just some of these terms. All right.
Right.
Old man yelling at cloud. Literally. All right. Polymega Collection 17 Gunbird is releasing soon. The compilation disc featuring a number of Psycho shooters along a couple of other games. Feature on disc are Gunbird, both the arcade and standard versions, Gunbird 2 arcade, Gumbyarch, Side Battler, Exerion, Skyfox, and notably Second Earth. Gradia, as well as both EDF arcade and Super EDF for the Super Nintendo. Or for those cool kids, as Guru pointed out, SNES.
Yeah, and this is kind of cool because, as far as I'm aware, this is the first time that Second Earth Gracia has ever had a release outside the arcades, other than in MAME.
MAME are also released in RetroArch.
Well, sure.
Sorry.
But I mean, outside of unofficial emulation.
Yeah. Hopefully release some Mister at some point.
Right. Richard Honeywood, famous for a number of game localizations, did an interview with Time Extension recently and talked about getting his start in the industry. One of the projects early in his career was working with Seibu Kaihatsu on a number of games, including Viper Phase 1, Raiden DX, and the PlayStation release of the Raiden project. According to Honeywood, prior to the PlayStation even fully existing, Sony executives had approached Seibu Kaihatsu about porting Raiden and Raiden 2 for them to new hardware, which is how it became a launch title for the system. Honeywood also hid a staff role in the game that's accessible via button combo, since the dev team for the project were not allowed to put their names into the game otherwise. Honeywood said he was involved in code optimization, as well as translation for the manual, since he was the only English speaker within Seibu Kaihatsu. He also mentioned that the Raiden project was in trouble at one point financially. They ended up making and releasing a strip mahjong title as a way to help fund the continued development. And I think that was probably a more common practice during that time than we might realize.
How Gal's Panic saved the company.
Yeah.
The complete shooting game book from author Hyoko Maeda is set for a February 20th release in Japan. Its style is a comprehensive compilation of shooting games released for home consoles through the 80s and 90s. The focus of the book is horizontal and vertical scrolling shooters. No word on a Western publisher picking up the book or what outlets will be carrying, but it's supposed to feature 717 games across 32 platforms. That seems like a good, massive coffee table book.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I saw this actually because somebody on Reddit picked it up and posted it in the Shmups Reddit, and so I got to see a couple of pictures of the book. I mean, it's pretty cool. So I'd love to have a copy, but man, that's a huge book to have to go page by page, try to do Google Lens to translate.
Well, it just reminded me, with all the shooting games that have been released now, if that thing were to be expounded upon, it would end up being like a world book of encyclopedia. You too can get the entire Encyclopedia Shmup set.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Volume G with just Gradius games.
Well, and the fact that it's only covering console games, I mean, if you can imagine the additional titles that you would get from the 2000s on, not to mention, you could probably write 12 volumes on just Dojin games.
T is for Toho.
Yeah.
You've got like T's. There's 6 books just on T.
Right. Raw Doggin is a new free-to-play shooter from developer 16-Bit Hyper Turbo. The game can be freely played in the browser on the dev's itch.io page, and downloads are available for Linux, macOS, Raspberry Pi, and Windows. It's a Pico 8 based caravan shooter with a comical theme. You have 150 seconds to save the Wienerverse, and you pilot a hot dog spaceship and take out enemies within the Junk Food Nebula. And I believe the Shmup Junkies Discord was doing some caravan stuff with this, and it seemed like maybe folks were enjoying it.
I think we found our December game, and I also have to say that Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was really going places. Rapid Fire Code Ascent is a new free-to-play mobile shmup on both Android and iOS from Illumigation Studio. Get flying pretty close to the sun on that one. Don't want to be sued. It takes heavy inspiration from Star Soldier and similar games, complete with pixel art graphics and caravan scoring elements. The game has multiple difficulty levels and 76 built-in achievements.
Yeah. A couple of us in the Discord have already been messing with this. I know DL Wraith got addicted to it, and I've been playing it some, and have already managed to play through all the levels on the easy, normal, and hard difficulty. Supposedly there's an extreme difficulty, but I haven't seen it in the menu yet, so I don't know if you have to unlock it somehow or what. But yeah, I've already done a bunch of the achievements, and it's a good time.
Nice.
Zegrator Plus is a new puzzle adventure shooter announced from developer Skipmore and M2's Tokuhiro Naito. It's listed as coming soon on Steam and has a 16-bit graphical style. The gameplay appears to be based upon a Centipede-style single-screen approach with puzzle elements and looks like a top-down 16-bit RPG in terms of visuals. No release date is listed, but a demo is supposed to be available in June.
Mountain STG is a new vertical shooting game from developer Omami-chan. The English version, or Windows and Mac, is available on omami-chan.itch.io page, and the Japanese version is available from the dev's Unity Room site. It appears to have a lot of Toho inspiration, includes a large roster of playable characters as well as 30 bosses.
Galactic Mecha Gunsuit is a forthcoming shmup on Steam from developer Theosoft. It's a vertical danmaku with visual novel elements. The release date is only listed as 2026 currently. The game has 4 difficulties, and the story plays out successively across all 4.
Gun Frontier's iconic Desperado, and it took a lot to not sing that like the Eagles would get a copyright strike, so is getting a physical release. Its 3D printed model will retail at 8,000 yen. It'll be approximately 17 centimeters long with 27 centimeter wingspan. Unfortunately, the models will need to be assembled and painted.
Brave Rounds is the next shmup in development from Zazan Zenzi, creator of Hellblasters. Your on-screen character will have the ability to quote-unquote delete some bullets by punching them away, based on the description and trailer on the Steam page. There's also a 2-player co-op mode where player 2 can control your option. The game is only listed as coming soon on the Steam page. However, a demo is available on the Switch eShop now, though unfortunately it's currently only available in the Japanese region.
Snowscape Flower Sekka the Gleam is a shmup in development from Autumn Sky Synthesis. It has apparently has involvement from Refrain Dev as well. The Steam page says coming soon, but the trailer has a lot of footage that looks far along development. Looks like it's inspired by Toho as well as Guanj based upon the trailer. You know, you're in for a good time for a game when it has a subtitle that makes no sense. So
yes.
those are always the ones that I go into and say, yes, it's that one game that you can't pronounce the name of, but it's a great game.
Yeah. Hamster has announced a new console archives line to begin bringing forward classic console games that have not been made available through other means. Among the first titles that will be released through the service are Sonic Wings Special, which was only available on the PlayStation and Saturn, as well as Desaemon Plus from the PlayStation. And I don't know if those have been released yet or not. Those are just the first ones that were mentioned.
Well, more releases and more availability of shmups is never a bad thing.
Yeah, I was just going to look and see if there's a listing here on Hamster's website that would give us more information, but I'm not seeing anything. Okay, yeah, it looks like those haven't been released yet, but but I can see that one that they have already released. Let's see here. As of, well, no, this doesn't say, but it's on Switch 2 and PS5. It is the Famicom version of Deza-Amon, and unfortunately, I was looking at some information on this earlier, and we do have confirmation that because the Famicom version of the game had no way to transfer your creations within the Deza-Amon game to, some other means or whatever, that you can't share this with other users, which makes sense because, there was no ability to do that back in the day. It's not like when you had the PlayStation or the Saturn where you could save something to memory and then, use a PlayStation memory card to copy it over to someone else, or use the backup RAM or the backup cartridge on the Saturn to save to, or copy your save over and then take it to your friend's house. And so, anyway, but yeah, I guess we have those other ones to look forward to.
Nice. Amamizu Games has released Space Warpster as Name Your Own Price title on their itch.io page. Graphic and stylistically, it's a throwback to the Speccy, or ZX Spectrum for the rest of us, look and feel, but with modern polish. It's currently in demo phase and can be played in the browser. The download version is available for both Windows and Linux.
Developer JpanMan has a YouTube video showing footage of a work-in-progress vertical Danmaku called Transmitter X. The game has a grazing mechanic to build up a special meter, and the special weapon can be used to cancel bullets on screen into scoring items. As with other Danmaku, the game also has a standard and focused movement. The graphic style is somewhat minimalistic, with a limited color palette and pixel art.
There is now a translation patch available for the Famicom Disk System version of Moreo Twinbee Cinema Nahasuke o Suzuki. The 1993 cartridge version had previously received a patch, but now the FDS version, Famicom Disk System version, has the same honor. This game did get a Western release as Steiner and was the second in the Famicom Twinbee trilogy. I wonder if you can flip it over to the B-side and play like volleyball. Because that's what most of those were they were volleyball or like early black box Nintendo games on the other side.
Huh, interesting. Metal Canary, the vertical shmup in development from Nye Adventure, has been ported to the Wii by the dev, apparently only having taken 6 hours to do so. An official Wii release is planned, along with the previously announced Dreamcast and PC releases. The Wii version will also receive a physical print courtesy of Old Game. A video on the Nye Adventure YouTube channel shows footage of the Wii and Dreamcast games, both being played on original hardware. That's pretty cool.
Great. Konami's somewhat forgotten overhead tank shooter Megazone is now available on Arcade Archives as of February 12th. The 1984 release saw only ports previous to Windows and 260 via the Game Room, but has otherwise been largely unavailable.
Reddit user Alan RPS is developing a ROM hack of Gradius Generation, which is what the original Japanese and European name for what we got in the North America as Gradius Galaxies, that is labeled as a black label version of the game. This will include a dynamic rank system, score-based extends, and a scoring rank system. Those interested in testing the hack can find the posts on the Electric Underground Reddit or r/shmups Reddit groups. And I reached out and got a copy of the early release of this, and yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely got some changes that I can tell playing the two games back to back.
Nice. Astro Burn is a forthcoming horizontal shoot 'em up from developer Beyond the Pixels. The Steam page is up to wish list, but no release date is listed. You're playing a flying cat in a spacesuit, exploring various areas and shooting down all manner of enemies as you traverse the different stages. I wonder if it's going to be like an option for you to play as Nya Cat. Talk about internet culture going back there.
I don't know, but this kind of reminded me of Proto Corgi. So fans of that game might be interested in this similar kind of cute 'em up style. Hijack, the previously mentioned horizontal shooter from Cambria Software Japan, has officially reached a 1.0 version. The game is a tribute to the MSX1 era and has a similar graphical look and sound profile to mimic that style. The game can be downloaded for Windows or Linux from the developer's itch.io page.
The Japanese version of Horgihyu and Friends is being delisted on the Japanese eShop as of February 28th. According to social media posts from GSK, the background music was done by Mataoka Furukawa, and there's apparently been some legal action between Pixel Company Limited and Furukawa over the music in a related labor dispute. So it seems Pixel has decided simply to no longer sell it. No word on delisting on other regions as of yet, but it is possible the game is on deep discount on JP Shop or Japanese eShop until it's delisted. This is one of those. I can't remember if I have a sealed copy that I bought and never got around to. Seems, but I never saw if I bought it on Steam. Now I probably should.
Yeah, I want to say I have. Let me double check here. I want to say I've got that. That same one as well. Of course, I opened mine because I always show that stuff off on YouTube. But yeah, I've got the North American Switch release physical as well.
Nice. It's one of those ones that I just sort of wanted to get to, but never had a chance. That's one of the things that it just sucks as you get older, right? You just get all of a sudden, but when you get the time to actually play a game, it's magical because so much in life requires your attention.
Right.
So maybe we should look into putting this sooner than later, or at least hopefully enough people buy it. We can. So I think it's been on pretty steep discount on the eShop and on Steam. So it shouldn't be that hard. But anyways, moving on.
Yeah, a new GitHub page is up to track early development of an IGS PGM core for the MiSTer project. It's not very far along yet, but given the PGM's similarities to Neo Geo hardware in terms of specs and capabilities, it doesn't seem far-fetched to think that this could be a viable core once fully developed. And of course,
yes.
The IGS
we can all play our bootleg
is home
Mushi.
to... Yeah, well, it's home to... Doronpachi Daiojo, of course, but then also DDP2 B-Storm, plus conversions of Espagaluda and Ketsui. So certainly this would be pretty cool to see this happen.
It's the B platform. Yeah, it's also... But the IGS PGM, though, really... A lot of the early stuff that came out were a lot of belt scrollers, right? They were all about Journey to the West or the wars within China, which Romance of the Seven Kingdoms, Three Kingdoms, or whatever. Yeah, all that type of stuff. But actually, within, there's been so many types of belt scrollers built upon ancient China, right? You have even the bootleg one that came out that was the Genesis, the water margin or whatever the water margin, that was very similar to Knights of the Round. That was picked up. That's by I forget that company who does the older stuff now, but that's all right. Every single ROM collection they've got a collection out for. Pico is what I'm thinking of. Yep.
Yeah, Water Margin, The Tales of Clouds and Winds.
Yep. It's not a bad game. I did enjoy it. I have a bootleg of the bootleg or something before it became somehow licensed. I don't know. But yeah, it's one of the better ones. It's like almost in some ways like a ROM hack of Knights of the Round. But it's pretty neat. So if you haven't tried it on Mister or some other platform, give it a shot.
Cool.
Zion Advanced Mission, a vertical STG for Game Boy Advance, has been released and even has a physical version that's available to order now from the Game Impact site. The initial limited edition batch is already sold through, but the second print is available now and scheduled to ship in March. Unfortunately, there's no option for overseas buyers.
No official option anyway. However, I use the BuyE proxy service on occasion, and I can confirm that they purchased this for me, and once it arrives at their warehouse, then they will be hitting me up to pay for the shipping. And so I'm hopefully expecting to see this in my mailbox sometime in the next few weeks.
Very nice.
Vermilion Star is a new shooting game from developer Noswin. It's very early in development, but is a horizontal shooter with a basic two-stage weapon system that has a standard shot and a special or focus shot. The initial demo stage can be played in the browser at the Noswin itch.io page.
YouTuber Animated Alex is attempting to recreate Zaxxon for the ZX Spectrum and Basic, and has been live streaming development and testing its process. It's still very early in works, but a basic framework is in place for initial game mechanics. I think he needs to change his name to Caffeinated Alex if he's going to go through with this.
Well, I watched a little bit of one of the streams, just the playback on YouTube, and it looks like an interesting process, so it'll be kind of cool to see how this develops.
Yeah, the Specky is something that I was always sort of interested in, but I just was wondering how... I've got eyesight problem before. I'm just wondering how much I could stand 4 colors burned into my retinas. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in this time next year I'm going, yeah, I bought a Specky with a cassette reader. Let's go. 4 colors for everyone.
Well, speaking of the Specky, Go-Go Bunny Gun is an impressive new horizontal shooter for the ZX Spectrum from Ion Games. It uses some graphical trickery to avoid the usual color clash issues with the main character sprite, so the colors stay consistent. You choose one of 3 bunny girls riding atop a plane and shoot down waves of enemies, picking up power-ups and upgrades along the way. It is a name-your-own-price title on the game's itch.io page.
There we go, right there, the killer app.
This actually looks impressive, so it might be worth throwing a couple bucks at the dev.
Is it worth buying the Specky for?
No, but I suppose you could use it in an emulator or on the Mister.
Oh, I was looking to use it as a text write-off.
Ha!
Right. Success Corp has announced 2 location tests for arcade release of Cotton Rockin' With You. These were scheduled to February 25th and March 3rd at the Akihabara Hey location, and March 4th and through the 10th at the... Oh, geez, we're going to butcher this terribly. Takadenoba Baba Game Center Mikado location. No further information is yet on a wider arcade release, but will be running on the AllNet P as multi-version 3 or APM3 hardware platform. And the Cotton games have... The reboot was rough around the edges, but understandably so. But rock and roll seems to be hit pretty good, so I'm hoping this one's really got some... got some legs on it, so we really can get a community behind this.
Yeah.
Right, they've had their freshman here, they've had their sophomore, and and this should be their junior year, so they really should come out of the gate with something nice.
Yeah. 2 English translations have been released at nearly the same time for the Japan-only N64 release of Treasure's Bangai-O. The first comes from Roboverse Translations and Gamatrove, who worked together to develop the English translation. And then another translation appeared to release very close to this from Dead Snare, and is already available on the ROM hacking site to download. Dead Snare's patch includes an updated title screen and a careful translation of the original Japanese text to make it more faithful to the original than the North American Dreamcast release was.
Oh, okay. A page break caused me to lose my spot. There we go. Okay. According to a post on Time Extension, D4 Enterprise is planning to bring the A-Console service games to Steam in addition to releasing on Switch. It's not clear whether D4 will bring all A-Console releases to Steam or they'll be selective, but since the number of early Japanese PC shooters have come out through the service, we may see some more of those games move over to PC. Well, let's hope.
Yeah. In a bit of a surprise announcement, RS-34 will be bringing Radargy Swag to Steam. The game is expected to launch on March 4th.
Very nice. Chronos Trap in Time is a new vertical roguelike shooter launching on Steam on March 6th from publisher SCS. Ongovand AB has a 16:9 horizontal presentation and appears to have a number of weapon options.
Yeah, I watched the trailer for this.
This is someone's take. Oh.
I don't want to doom the game out of the gate, but I kind of got Signy vibes just from the visual presentation. But it does look a bit more traditional shmuppy than that. So, I don't know. I'll reserve judgment.
Okay. I just was wondering if this is someone's take on like a spiritual successor to Time Pilot or something.
Oh,
No, okay.
Nightwings is a new roguelite rail shooter listed as coming soon to Steam from Pro Phoenix Studio SRLS. It looks similar to recent rail shooters Ashura the Striker and Air Twister in terms of the graphical style. And the spelling is Knite for Nightwings. The game certainly looks like it uses some AI art, but I did not see that on the Steam page. But I wasn't looking. But it does, kind of look like it could be fun. I know some people are kind of getting tired of roguelike or roguelite elements in games. But anyway, it's there if you want it.
Be Curious Software's Revolver Gear Zero is out now on Steam. This is one that's definitely been on my radar. I like this game a lot.
Yeah, some folks in our Discord have already been playing it and have got some enjoyment. And Chef Ataris reviewed the game on his YouTube page and seemed to enjoy it as well. So definitely gonna enjoy that. And also Blaze of Storm from Terrarin Games is available now. And that was actually an early release, I believe. I don't think it was supposed to be out until next month or until March sometime.
For some reason, I missed this one, so I'm gonna have to. This looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I've heard some folks saying that it's Terrarin's best yet, and there are already people in our Discord who have been enjoying it.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. All right. Yuzo Koshiro recently posted in social media stating that the Eartheon game ROM is finalized. Updates will continue to be provided via modern platform versions. No word yet on a Mega Drive or Genesis release, but barring manufacturing problems, looks like a 2026 launch. The Eartheon game, it sort of surprised me as it went on sale faster than I thought it would on the Steam sales, right? It's going to, I think it was like $13, which seems really cheap because it's a great game.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, it's a Steam game, so I understand it being on sale so quickly. But certainly once the cartridge version is available, I think it'll do reasonably well. Clear River Games will finally be doing a physical release of the Kyoku Tiger Heli compilation from M2's Toll Plan Arcade Garage series, and pre-orders for that launched on February 26th.
Very nice. Developer Toge and publisher Mark III are working on Cure for Damaku Syndrome, a forthcoming medical-themed SDG on Steam. The release date is only listed on 2026 right now. You control nanomachine. Ever since Metal Gear, I can't say nanomachines without. I'll just burst out laughing. Everyone ever seen that? Where the spoiler, but hey, this game's been out for a long time. With the Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance at the end, where you're fighting the boss. He gets beat up, and all of a sudden he just beats his chest, goes, "Nanomachine, son." That game just cracks me up. If you haven't played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, the one with that game, it just doesn't take itself seriously in any such way, and it's just so much fun to do. It's just so. Give it a shot.
That one's still on my backlog.
That game is great. Yeah, definitely play that game because it goes above and beyond. It jumped the shark, and this one just keeps going. So, anyways, let's see. We were at nanomachines. Yeah, you control nanomachines inside the human body in your missions to take on new, unexplained disease inside the body, fighting infections, parasites, and various pathogens to remove it. Yeah, they could bring back some of those late 80s commercials where everything on there was just either some like lightning striking the guy or something on there, or some big red spot. But then I'm sure someone out there is thinking, why aren't they mentioning Stu Goodbody? Or Inner Space? Wasn't there was a shmup that did body stuff, and I don't mean stuff like the Konami stuff like Life Force. I mean, there was one that did actual like human body and cells that was in there. I think it came on the Ed was playing it for quite a while. But then there was also Nanoforce, and I think Nanoforce is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, right. Yeah, and there's one for the 2600 that I can never remember the name of that's the same kind of a thing.
Biosurgeon, something like that, or something like that?
No, it's something else. Fantastic Voyage, that's it.
Yep. The problem with 2600 games is it space? Is not? I don't know. It's just a black screen. A lot of them sort of blend together, whether they, just because of the graphical style at the time.
Yep. A new interview has been posted on Time Extension with Yuji Yasuhara, programmer and designer behind the PS1 rail shooter classic Omega Boost. It details how he got started in the game dev business and goes into great detail on the development of Omega Boost.
I haven't heard the name Omega Boost in a while. I bought that for the PlayStation 1 years ago.
Yeah,
a demo is a good game. A demo is out now for the remake of Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei, and initial impressions have been very poor from the player community. Hopefully development continues and improvements are made.
Yeah, we talked about the original Panzer Dragoon remake, and I know that wasn't overly well received, but I generally enjoyed it and felt like it was, at least a reasonably good way to play the game, even if it didn't quite have the charm of the original. But yeah, so far what I've heard about this demo is not promising. So we'll see how it pans out over the next few months. Breeby Man, I think is how you say it, is a new shooting game from developer MetalFRO Pro and publisher Waku Waku Games, out on Steam as of February 12th. It has a third-person, into-the-screen perspective similar to a rail shooter, but you only move left and right at the bottom. You attack enemies with breakbeats, so the game has a rhythm element to it. I watched the trailer for this, and this looks very busy and a little bit difficult to follow. But there were some people in the Shmup Junkies Discord who were messing around with it. And anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this does.
Reminds me, Breeby Man. Oh, it reminds me of sort of that weird thing that Japan does with the different heroes, like Bravo Man, that is stupidly expensive on the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I think it was arcade game as well. And then the one that came out for the Super Nintendo, what was their two brawler, Sonic Blast Man, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
The title one, yeah. Those one, I just don't know what it is, but it's yeah. Very keeping things weird.
Yes.
Retro Gunner from developer Zap is out now in a free download from the Zap Shooter itch.io page. It is developed similar to the Pico 8 platform, where its fantasy console called the TIC-80 with a general 8-bit look. The game has 5 stages in caravan-style Star Soldier type game, but with more bullet density. The game features arcade mode, team play, as well as the boss rush.
This looks cool, so I'm definitely going to have to grab it.
If it's Star Soldier style of game, we may have to bring out Takahashi Meijin.
Haha. Improvements have come to R-Type Delta HD Boosted, including the ability to skip the initial cutscene, adjusted enemy placement in Stage 3 to better match the original game, a new slowdown option to more closely match the original, as well as adjustments in cutscenes, sound effects, and some minor bug fixes. So it's good to see that this is still getting attention.
Now, the ship date for Soldier X Complete Collection from PlayAsia continues to be pushed back now to May 14th.
I don't know what the holdup is on this thing, but it's kind of annoying because I've got this on pre-order and I would really like to see this in 2026. Neon Void Scraper is a new browser-based shooter that is free to play on the Snape-BR itch.io page. It's a simple vector graphics-inspired wave-based vertical shooter where you collect gold after destroying enemies and can power up between waves.
Ober's Paradox from Necosphere is out on Steam now as of February 25th. It's an abstract neon-flavored defender-like shooter where you can fire and move both left and right to destroy enemies and collect items. Defender-style gameplay is one thing that just keeps on surprising me, where the core gameplay can just be iterated upon and given a fresh coat of paint, and it works really well, right? We saw that with what was that game that we played for the PS4 as a launch? That Resogun.
Resogun, yeah. Dogfight Darlings from Dull Rat is set for a March 9th release on Steam. It's a vertical shooter where each playable character is a sentient plane, and the game is primarily boss fights. It has got a unique mechanic where you can duck down to a lower plane briefly to avoid taking damage from bullets or enemy collisions.
Coming soon from Marvel Games is Marvel Maximum Collection. Most of what's in the collection will be in action and beat-up games, notably including the arcade versions of X-Men and Captain America and the Avengers. However, it will also feature a torture device, Silver Surfer for the NES.
I do want to cover that game at some point, even if it's just for the memes.
yeah, I have this game, and I rented it back before, and I somehow tried to convince myself it was good when I rented it, which, hey, you got a weekend from Blockbuster, that's the only game you can play, and look,
Yeah, I remember.
It's not worth it, kids. Buy it for the X-Men arcade game. Buy it for the Captain America Avengers arcade game. Don't torture people with Silver Surfer. Now we're gonna have a shirt in the shop that just says friends don't torture friends with Silver Surfer.
Yes. Stealth Raid Ghost Squadron is a new mobile side-scrolling shmup with a twist. It's essentially a Flappy Bird clone, but with enemy shooting and item collecting. It is out now on Android.
A 2010 interview with Junya Inoue, also known as Joker June, has been translated and published on the Shmupulations site, as well as an in-depth discussion of Esperade and the thought process behind the game's creation and development.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they put that interview out, and it's a fairly lengthy one too. So definitely go check that out. Wrapping up the news, we have a fairly exciting piece of news here. Developer Implicit Conversions and publisher Blissbrain have announced an updated port of the PlayStation shooting game Geppy X. The original PS1 release spanned 4 discs and was heavily inspired by 70s mecha anime, with each stage acting as an episode, if you will, of the fictional Geppy X show. According to a post on Gematsu, the original Betacam master tapes have been redigitized, so the full motion video won't simply be upscales of the original 480i content. There's already an English trailer on YouTube as well, so while the game's original cutscenes may not necessarily receive an English dub, it does signal that the game may be receiving a Western release. Either way, it is scheduled to set to launch on all modern platforms as of July 16th. And this is pretty cool. Geppy X is one of those lesser known PlayStation shoot 'em ups, and I only know about it primarily because Ed has streamed this before, and so I look forward to seeing this release so I can actually get my hands on it and play it. Now, I'm hoping this will get a physical as well.
Yeah, this one would do well. It's sort of one of those games that was held back on the limitations of the CD-ROM format at the time. And yeah, I wonder, even if it had been on something like the PS2, how well that would have done. So yeah, it really is something that needed to be brought forward onto something, right? It was sort of like those people who have Windows 7 and they're trying to install it on 570 floppy disk. It's like, we got some technological limitations that we need to fix here. It's just being able to have it as one cohesive product where you're not swapping between the discs is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the ability for more people to play, especially since it's so darn expensive at this point, really helps out.
Yep.
This is the type of... Take note. This is the type of stuff we don't need. We don't need plumbers don't wear ties.
Exactly. And yeah, that is all the shmup news that you can use.
Alright, so let's move on to the games and participants for the month of January 2026. We had Drake Tungsten, Corkman77, Eat Electric Death, Skosh, and a newcomer, The Orange.
Yeah. And as we mentioned in the previous episode, we kind of did something slightly different this month, and instead of covering a single game, we went with 2 games. And that was kind of because they're from the same developer, they're on the same platform, and it's probably the only time that we're really gonna talk pretty heavily about shmupping action on the Atari Lynx. And those games are, of course, Gates of Zendokon and Zarler Mercenary. Starting out with Gates of Zendokon, like I said, both games were developed and published by staff from Epyx, and both were exclusive titles for the Atari Lynx. Now, Gates of Zendokon released in 1989 and was a launch title alongside California Games, Blue Lightning, and Electropop. It released in all three major regions as well. The North American and European Union releases were published by Atari Corporation, while the Japanese release was published by Moomin Corporation. The game was designed and programmed by Peter M. Engelbright. He also contributed art for the game, alongside Matthew Crisdale and Arthur Cook. The music for the game was composed by Robert Vieira and Alex Rudis. Peter Engelbright was also responsible for programming the Lynx game Todd's Adventures in Slime World, as well as coding Atari 2600 ports of earlier Epyx titles. At one point, a Jaguar update to the game was planned, but didn't make it to a production stage. And according to an interview in the Atari Times, Engelbright said that prototyping for the game began before the Lynx hardware had even been developed, and was running on an Apple II machine with ASCII characters representing on-screen sprites as an early prototype. The game was released on Steam in November 2022 and was part of the Lynx Collection Bundle, as well as the Epyx Bundle. It was also released as part of the Epyx Collection handheld on the Nintendo Switch in April 2024. And as for the game's story, the droids of your old nemesis, the evil spider Zendokon, captured you. Zendokon itself sentenced you to wander its web of deadly universes. Zendokon's universes are connected by a web of transporter gates and alien bases. Zendokon orders its droids to transport you to an alien base on the first of 51 interconnected universes and to give you a starship. You must survive dangerous universes inhabited with hostile aliens while searching for transporter gates. When you find a transporter gate, fly through the gate into another universe. You will find aliens in Zendokon's universes. Aliens held as slaves by Zendokon's minions will help you if you can free them. They will follow your ship, aiding you with strange weapons unlike any you have ever encountered. Will you survive Zendokon's challenge? You must survive. Your reward for success is the chance for sweet revenge, a duel to the death with the evil spider itself. And I took that story right out of the manual.
Hey, look, it's better than some of the shmup backstories I've seen.
Exactly.
Zarler Mercenary was published by Epyx in 1990 for the Atari Lynx. The game's main programming was done by Chuck Somerville, who also created Chip's Challenge, Summer Games 2, and California Games. Graphics were done by Matt Clydesdale, sound and music by Chris Grigg, and Stephen Lindrum did additional programming. Epyx programmer Peter Engelbright hid a secret within Zarler Mercenary, a cellular automata game based upon Conway's Game of Life. To access this, hold Option 1 at the character select screen. Press up, down, left, right. Oh, anytime someone starts with up, down, left, right, I almost instantly start thinking of Konami code. I had to catch myself there.
Yeah.
You can use the same method to access developer pictures during the character screen. Hold Option 1 and press up, down, left, right, down, up to get the picture of Chris Grigg. Hold Option 1 and press up, down, left, right, down, up, left to see the picture of Chuck Somerville. And hold Option 1 and press up, down, left, right, down, up, down to access the picture of Matt Clydesdale. And hold down Option 1 and press up, down, left, right, down, up, right for a picture of Steve Landrum. Well, I think everyone just found out that they don't want me narrating their GPS or sat-nav. As with Gates' Zendikon, Xylar Mercenary released on Steam on November 2022 as part of the Epics Collection handheld for Nintendo Switch in April 2024. The story? Take no prisoners. In a world with it may be a dirty war, a little war, maybe even a stupid war, but it's their war and they're willing to pay big. Agents in this business had never really been real refined. The guy was no exception. His hair was slicked back like a wet pelt of Yotharian sweat devil, and his suit was exactly what the fashion-conscious Xylar was into. He'd almost packed for respectable, almost. But I liked what I heard. Coming from him, it was almost poetic. I make the mistake of showing up on time, and I already had 3 tanks in me when he sulked in and started to whisper his proposal. Even though we knew that every ear was strained to hear our conversation, the other patrons tried not to look too interested. Territory wars I'd done before, no problem there. Both sides were rich. Mining, hydronics, trade data, and both were lousy fighters. Their dirty little war had been deadlocked for years, but like most rich cultures, they were too proud to hire outside help, professional help, until now. I like Xylar's plan. It was clean, all-out war, just a series of 6 surgical strikes at key industrial and commercial sites on Yorth, the Merc Canton's home planet. The idea was to collapse the military and disrupt the economy long enough for the Xylars to land their prefab bases and get dwellings of Stravis in the disputed areas. The fabulously mineral-rich outer planes from the star system. I was hot for a job and the deal was right. A solo job, orbital shot, completion bonus, and I could pick my own equipment. And money. Lots of money. There was nothing to say but yes. As I left the bar, and Enklins in the bar spat at me his Xylar mercenary, and I guess that's exactly who I am. You know, I'm sure there's a shirt that we'll have out of this that says, "Who am I? I'm the Xylar mercenary."
Yes.
Or some this stuff. You know, it's meant to read like a pulp or a noir, right? A 1990s noir film on there. But oh jeez.
Yeah, it's
cheesy,
more story than it's more story than we usually get in a shmup. But I actually kind of found it charming because it's a bit silly.
Well, you know what I was wondering, all that was missing was a jazz theme, right? Because if Star Wars has chosen us anything, anytime you go into a CD bar, you need a upbeat jazz.
This is true, yes.
We need a Cantina theme.
Right. Well, moving on to gameplay. Gates of Zendikon is a horizontal scrolling shooter that plays across 51 possible stages, with runs varying in length based on the path chosen as you progress. The A button in the game activates your Destructor Shield and must be held down to be effective. The shield does have infinite energy, but will overheat if used for too long. It can deflect some enemy fire and protect against enemy collisions. For enemies that you cannot destroy, your ship will bounce off those foes while the shield is active. The B button fires your neutrino laser and any sub-weapons collected, as well as dropping photon bombs. Some sub-weapons have auto-fire along with a laser, others do not. For each photon bomb dropped, it requires a button press. Now, because the game has so many levels, pressing the option 1 button at the title screen allows you to input the 4-letter code for a level to start in that zone specifically, which is kind of a neat feature. It's sort of like a level select in some ways. Like many Lynx titles, you can press the option 2 and pause button at the same time to flip the screen 180 degrees. You can also press option 1 and pause at the same time to reset to the title screen during gameplay. Option 2 will toggle music on or off, and at the title screen, the A button starts the game on easy difficulty, and the B button starts on hard. As mentioned in the story, there are 4 alien helpers that you can rescue along the way, each of which will provide additional firepower. The flying eyeball will hover beneath your ship and shoot fireballs straight ahead. One button press equals one fireball. Death Arising hovers above your ship and fires lasers straight upward. This also requires button press for each shot fired. Cosmic Destroyer is a floating object that can home in on enemies to damage and destroy them. Each deployment of the Cosmic Destroyer requires a press of the B button. And finally, the Sonic Dart weapon fires large sonar waves that grow larger as they travel across the screen. Now, this weapon does have auto-fire capabilities and is by far the most powerful weapon in the game. Your alien helpers are not invincible, however. They are subject to damage if they collide with enemies or terrain, or they get caught while entering one of the many gates throughout the various zones. And I found this out the hard way, because I was sitting there looking at the screen while the Sonic Dart was bouncing off of the gate and saw that it got destroyed. That was very disheartening. Your ship can also take damage along the way so that it doesn't simply have one-hit deaths. The first hit will take out the module on the top that provides your shield. The second hit will destroy your neutrino laser. The third hit will fell your craft, as well as jettison any alien helpers you've picked up along the way. After each stage is complete and you've entered the gate, you'll be taken to a landing platform. Sometimes the landing platform is electrified, and you have to time your landing to avoid being destroyed. Landing on a platform will cause the pilot to get out and take the elevator down to the lower level for a fresh ship. Any alien helpers picked up will be repaired as well, and then they will follow along with the new ship when you launch. Some zones have a single gate at the end, and once you've reached the end in those levels, the scrolling will stop and your only option will be to just enter that one gate. Other stages have multiple gates, however, which will determine the next area you'll be transported to. And each zone's 4-letter designation will display at the bottom of the screen during the landing platform segment, just before the next zone, so you can see your progress based on the list of stages. Online maps are available that show the routes throughout the game, and big shout out to Drake Tungsten, who actually shared in the Discord a nice graphical map that shows all the routes, and also a bunch of other info on Gates of Zendokon. The shortest run through the game will consist of 14 main stages. The Zeta stage, which has a penultimate boss fight against a wall that contains cannons and other attacks, as well as additional oncoming enemies and hazards. The only weak point to this is the main cannon that moves up and down, and only when the front portion opens briefly. And then the final stage is the fight against Zendokon itself, which makes for the 16th stage. The longest run in the game is 30 stages long, including the Zeta Wall, boss fight, and the Zendokon fight. This includes looping back to the raised level from the Niet or SZZZ stages, as well as going from SNAX to Near, instead of direct from Zeta to Snacks or SNAX. The game has a secret that allows players to boost their scores greatly, however. It breaks the game somewhat because the secret stage not only provides far more score than any other zone in that game, but also rewards players with all 4 alien helper upgrades, providing a big advantage for subsequent stages. To access the secret area, you hold down and right as soon as you enter the Trix or TRYX stage, and basically fly through the floor in front of the enemy tanks that are coming from the back part of the screen. Once you're under the floor, then you'll need to navigate a couple of narrow passages, but then the first gate that appears will take you to an unnamed stage. And here, you get nothing but pixelized versions of the dev team's heads, digitized and flying around the screen. Once this stage is complete, the game will take you to the NERB zone. There are 4 areas in the game specifically: NERB, Bear, or BARE, SSSS, and the aforementioned snacks that are what we call dragon levels, and they consist of 1 or more mini-boss fights against flying dragons. The dragons all move in a consistent pattern that loops, and the weak point is on each dragon's head. The screen will stop scrolling during each dragon fight until destroyed. Now, Zendukon's weak point is on the underside of its body, and damage to it will be obvious as you shoot the weak spot toward the center underside. Zendukon will spit out a large number of bubbles that you can also destroy, and will be dangerous to you if you run into them. The game's hard difficulty makes the game much faster, with faster enemy projectiles and more aggressive gameplay overall. Sadly, it's not very balanced. Extra lives are earned at certain gates in the game and don't appear to be strictly tied to score. It's also important to note that your ship in the game has an odd momentum to it. It's not inertia per se, but your movement starts out slow and then picks up speed quickly, so precision movement can be harder to achieve.
Alright. Zarlor Mercenary is a vertical scrolling shooter with 6 stages, each culminating in a boss fight. In the game, the A button will fire your primary weapon loadout, your B button will fire your laser. Everyone put your finger quotes together with that one. If your ship is equipped with one. The option 1 button can be used to drop a mega bomb if you have any in stock. By default, weapons do not have auto-fire, but you can acquire an item that provides you with auto-fire for the current life. Multiple upgrades are available throughout the game. Some are found within stages while others can be purchased at shops, and some are available in both places. The A power-up provides your ship with auto-fire, so you don't have to continually press the B button. The P button gives your ship the power shot, which makes your forward double shot larger, increases the attack power. The S power shot, or power up, shows movement or increases the speed of your ship. And the wing cannon upgrade provides a pair of additional turrets to the sides of your ship that can fire outward at an angle, giving your craft greater attack range. This is only available in the shop. The super shield upgrade will gradually restore health over time. The side shooters add a pair of cannons on both sides of the ship and will fire out directly to the left and right of your craft. The back shooter adds a cannon to the rear of your ship and fires directly behind you. This is also only available in the shop. Mega Bomb pickups allow you to collect in some stages as well as in the shop. This is also only available in the shop. Thankfully, your stock of Mega Bombs does not reset between lives. You can purchase an extra ship from the shop if you have enough money to do so. In some stages, you have the ability to grab a heart power-up, which will partially refill your ship's health. A couple of power-ups are only available when playing a multiplayer game, which are Invisibility, hides your ship from other players. The Black Stabber upgrades fire from the rear of your ship to keep other players at bay and will damage them, though it won't damage enemies. It's important to note that a power-up is only active for the current life. Once you lose a life and respawn the next life, that power-up will not be available to you. That is, unless you collect another one. Power-ups will stack in the game, so increasing the trails of whatever upgrade you've collected, you'll simply get another one that can be used in the next life. At the beginning, you choose from one list of pilots. Each of the pilots has a particular advantage based upon persistent power-up and upgrade assigned to each one. Scorch is half man, half cyborg, due to injuries taken in his line of work. His permanent upgrade is that his chip is always equipped with a laser. XQ-49 is a rogue robot originally created to do housework, but his program went haywire. Oh geez, those Roombas. A Roomba escaped out of its natural habitat. Went on rampage. His permanent upgrade is that his ship will always be equipped with a wing shot upgrade. Landrew is a fire demon warrior. His permanent shot is that his ship will always be upgraded with the power shot. Brenda is a mercenary with a magical amulet she wears. Her permanent upgrade is that her ship always has a speed power up. Spike is a paranoid warrior, always looking behind him for threats. As such, his permanent upgrade to his ship is he is a back shooter. Rex was a king in his previous life who was deposed from the throne. He seeks revenge on those who destroyed his kingdom. His ship will always be equipped with the side shooters. Zetarog? Yeah. We'll go with Zetarog. Zetarog is a grotesque alien from an unknown territory. His ship always has a speed upgrade in tow. The main focus of the game, like many shooters, is to shoot everything and anything. Each target in the game can be destroyed, will yield you score in the form of Zarlor currency Zarbits. That sounds like a bad thing to have. What do you got? Oh, it's bad, man. I got Zarbits. Zarbits may become habit-forming. Consult your doctor or physician. The more havoc you wreck throughout the levels, the more money you collect. Between each stage, you visit the mercantile and purchase upgrades with the Zarbits you've earned from the subsequent stage. Upgrades will only show up if you can afford them. Simply press A or B when an upgrade is highlighted to purchase it. When an item is highlighted, it will also show you the number of them you have in stock. The number of that item in stock matches the total number of ships you have that will indicate that you are full of that item. You can also sell extras of weapons in the shop if you desire. Zarlar Mercenary plays out across 6 areas on the planet Eurith. Stage 1 is the Commodore Desert. Your job is to destroy as many of the factories and pipelines that the desert as possible, while fending off attacks from the Mendicant fleet. Take out the giant cruiser at the end of the stage by blowing up each of its armor plates. Yeah, this one felt like I was playing Ketsuya or something on here, but it just kept saying, "This is not my final form." That boss kept taking forever. I mean, it was neat, don't get me wrong, but okay, does it really need 32 armor plates they have to destroy each one of?
Right.
Stage 2 sees you flying over the Mazort Swamp. Mercanant bases and factories are shrouded all over the swamp vegetation, but you'll be equipped with air-to-ground weaponry. Watch out for kamikaze ships and waves of enemies bent on your destruction. Watch out for the large ship at the end. You need to destroy the side panels to take out its homing lasers. Then shoot the core to take it down. So this stage, I don't know what it was, but the color green, whenever I was pause this game, it just looked like a hot mess on stage 2 because it was so hard to tell what the heck was what. So I'm thinking that it probably would have been a lot easier to read on the Lynx screen, and it makes me think I probably should get my Lynx fixed. But playing on I was playing on a 32-inch monitor, and because everything was just so blown up, it looked pretty bad. So I imagine playing on the actual handheld, it didn't, or the Steam release, right? I was playing on the Mr. FPGA to do this, which may have caused me to hate one of the games, but we'll get to that. Stage 3 is having you fly over the Dokrit Sea. You'll be taking out Medicant naval ships and base encampments left and right, but beware the sudden rush of ships. They catch you off guard and drain all your health. You'll face against 3 highly powered submerged vessels at the end. Target the center of each one to take it down. Stage 4 is a set of more domes, an unsuspecting moon that houses many Medicant bases and factories. Well, hopefully not the dark side of the moon. Leave Pink Floyd alone. Attack with precision and stay vigilant as wave of enemies try to take you out. At the end, you'll face off with a large satellite surrounded by protective orbs. Each will fire upon you as you destroy them. Once the satellite is defeated, multiple enemy ships will emerge and target you. Keep on blasting to win the day. This seems like a Danny DeVito quote there. And then I started blasting.
Yeah. So anyway, I started blasting. Yeah.
Yeah. Stage 5 is Mardic Ice, where the Medicants take advantage of the radioactive ice caps on the planet Mardi Kolodivia. You know, this sounds like a planet. This planet has swamps, deserts, ice, and the moon base. Who wants to move there? No. Stage 5 is Mardik Ice, where the Medicans take advantage of the radioactive ice caps on the planet Mardik Koldavia. Your targets will be the nuclear reactors, power plants, and weapons factories along the landscape. Beware the rush of heavily armored craft coming at you through the stage and during the boss fight. You'll be confronted with a pair of large craft, each equipped with 3 cannons that can fire directly at you, homing in on your position. Stage 6 is the final era, flying over Sedmite City. You'll be destroying buildings and taking out civilians and cars along the way as you fend off waves of incoming Medicant ships, all while avoiding power surges from towers that run throughout the city. Oh jeez, man. Look at this. They foresaw 5G and 6G. Truly visionaries. At the end, a giant Medicant warship will charge at you and fire at your position. A healthy dose of your own firepower and perhaps some bombs can help you take it down. Yeah, perhaps some bombs on here. It's not like he's gonna go, oh, we're coming across the mothership. What are we gonna do? Let's throw some yogurt at it. That will get it. No. Yes, bombs will definitely help. Once you've beaten the game, you go back to Zarlar to collect your bounty. However, upon doing so, you can discover that your Zarbits you were paid were counterfeit. It's the only gold on the surface, which easily rubs off. So you take off and destroy the base. After all, they should never cheat a Zarlar mercenary. But
Indeed.
You know, what were they giving out? These the gold wrapped candy that you get in the movie theater, or that kids get for Easter? Those gold coins.
Like the gold coins.
Yeah.
Yes, chocolate Zarbits.
Chocolate. There we go. There's our. We're launching the candy now. Chocolate Zarbits.
Oh yes. Well, touching on the graphics a little bit, given the small size of the Lynx screen and the low resolution of just 160 by 102 pixels, the graphics of both games are still impressive when put up against the hardware's immediate competitor, Nintendo's Game Boy. Both games are colorful and have some nice effects going on, and then both games also make minor use of the built-in sprite scaling ability of the Lynx. The brief intro when starting a run in Gates of Zendikon sees your player entering the first gate as you fly into it in a third-person view, and then in Zarlar Mercenary, after defeating each stage boss, your ship flies up toward the screen and scales upward as it leaves the area. Gates of Zendikon has a wide variety of locales to fly through, but due to the large number of zones, backgrounds are often very simple, consisting of repeating patterns or simple blue sky or black night sky areas. There are a handful of stages that have more intricate backgrounds, such as those set in large cities, but these are less common. By contrast, with only 6 stages across Zarlar Mercenary, backgrounds are much more detailed and interesting, in part because you can destroy much of it. Ground elements that you can blow up will show the damage appropriately, and you'll see a small number displayed showing how many Zarbits you've earned by taking out each target. Now, unfortunately, neither game runs at a very high frame rate, so there's some jerkiness to the scrolling and overall movement. The games can feel a bit imprecise as a result, similar to many early DOS shooters. And because of the high number of colors on the screen, the detail in the graphics, and the large number of sprites that can be displayed all at once, both games can get busier than you might expect, leading to some visual confusion in spots.
Alright, let's move on to the sound. The Atari Lynx sound, however, wasn't known for being impressive and wasn't very well utilized during its lifespan as developers did with the Game Boy. That said, both games do a respectable job of trying to do a good job with the sound effects and music, though these compositions themselves vary in quality quite a bit. There are a couple earworms among the tracks, but very little that will have you humming along after you're done playing. Notably, the voice sample in Xenocon laughing at you to start the game is relatively clear, so obviously some care was taken to make that work within the hardware limitations. Zarla Mercenary also has a sound that plays whenever the power-up appears for the stage, so you know the screen left and right to see the whole playfield to let you know if seek out an upgrade that's available. Yeah. This is where I get into sort of a little bit of a problem that occurred with mine. I started these up, I have a soundbar that's connected that I've connected to the TV here via ARC, and that plays in. Looking back, it probably was not a good idea to have the soundbar enabled as I tried to start these games, because the sound normally would have been just fine when it's blasted out at me. It got on my nerves really quick, so especially when I had to leave the gates of Xenocon running through. After about 5 minutes of that, I had to shut that thing completely off because it had really irritated me. It's a thing. Well, look, I'm not getting younger, so I got the thing on high blast to begin with. And the first thing I hear is that music played over and over for 5 minutes. It's not as bad as listening to the Meow Mix song for 5 minutes, but it definitely got to me and started giving me a headache. And this is from somebody who's played over an hour of the Virtual Boy.
And now all I'm hearing is Dr. Evil. I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver.
Yes. The CIA actually did use that song to torture people, so there you go.
Oh, man. Well, I'll talk about the scoring just a little bit. Gates of Xenocon is actually kind of unique for its time because it uses a tick point system for scoring. Every enemy that takes multiple hits will award points for each bit of damage that it takes from your arsenal. And so even if you don't destroy an enemy before it leaves the screen, the damage you inflicted still counts toward your score. Also, some enemies will fire destructible projectiles, and some stages have missiles or rockets and other threats that can be neutralized by your firepower. And some areas have terrain you can destroy as well, so the game gives you scoring potential aplenty. Curiously, the scoring divide between easy and hard mode is very large. A standard 1cc run on easy may only yield you 150,000 points or more, whereas a lengthy scoring run on hard can see you netting millions of points, even without a win. As previously mentioned, utilizing the secret area accessed from the hidden gate within tricks will be essential for achieving high scores, particularly on hard. Now, as far as the scoring in Zarla Mercenary, that is all balanced around how much destruction you can cause, as well as how many of the Zar bits you use in the shops between stages. If you can manage not to spend them all on upgrades or extra ships, then you'll end up with much more at the end of the game. Also, destroying the final boss will net you a 250,000 Zar bit bonus, so of course that'll help boost your score at the end. Collecting power-ups during the stages can also save you cash between stages, so you don't necessarily feel like you have to buy as many upgrades.
Let's move on to thoughts from the player community. Our first thought or comments comes from Drake Tunston. I have this one from back in the day. I beat Zarla Mercenaries, so definitely have to play it. Played a bunch of it on the bus to Colorado on a school ski trip. Very nice. For Gates of Xenocon, hold down plus right arrow as soon as you begin tricks until you pass through the floor. We end up passing through a secret path that leads to a warp that has no level code at all. At the beginning of this level, you get all the alien helpers and fight a wave of clones of the heads of developers. At the end of this level, you warp to level NERB, which is an earlier level, allowing you to loop as many times as you want before completing this game. Pro tip for a Zarla mercenary: pick the Roomba. I mean, Android.
Yeah, Drake Chungson was very encouraging during the month, particularly as I was playing through Zarla Mercenary, because he said that he did beat it back in the day. Eat Electric Death said, started Gates of Zendokon. It's interesting. First attempt got me quite far until a stage that shoots high-speed missiles at you destroyed me. Later on my last attempt, I took a ludicrously long route and got to Zeta, but wasn't able to beat the boss there. Scoring seems to be solely dependent on how many times you want to loop the bonus level, since it gives so much score that it dwarfs the rest of the game. Certainly a very unique and weird game, a relic of its time and system. But I wouldn't exactly call it good. And then for final thoughts, late easy mode clear, finally figured out how to beat The Wall. Weird game, probably can't call it good on any objective metrics, but I still find the weird tone and trippy visuals charming. And EED did, once the month was over, was continuing to play Gates of Zendokon for a bit, trying to get that hard mode clear. And I want to say he did a save state clear, like did a save state either right before or right after The Wall, and then was able to finally get Zendokon beat, The Wall and Zendokon beat after several tries. And so, yeah, good on you for getting that done.
Agreed. The Orange says, played a bit of Zarla Mercenary. I always die in stage 2. Feels like it's impossible not to get hit consistently. Zendokon does look a bit interesting. Maybe I'll give it a try too. Well, hopefully you did and you aren't suffering from Meow Mix syndrome.
Corkman77 said, I generally haven't been interested in the Lynx, either back in the day or today. But I picked up the Epics bundle on Switch to play these shmups and see what other Lynx games I've been missing. Zarler seems decent considering the hardware, and probably the more interesting out of the two. Gates of Zendokon is fairly simple and a bit boring, but there's some charm to seeing what huge pixelated enemy is on the other side of the next gate. And then later, got to the second to last level before the last boss in Zendokon. Those worms took out my last 2 lives.
Skosh says, played these on stream last night. I'll have to say my favorite of the two was Gates of Zendokon. Felt like a bit of a fun time. Trippy visuals were cool too. Later on, man, an hour in and it died on the last boss. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez, yeah, hard mode is tough. Snex did me in this time. I'm calling there on this game. Janky, kind of fun, but also rage-inducing final few stages. Anything after Brex, I'm a coin toss for me, so it takes so long to get there. I would say what you will about these games, they definitely introduce feelings in people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the length of Gates of Zendokon, particularly if you don't know where you're going and you just sort of pick a gate, you can, a run can really take a long time. Thinking about, or I guess touching briefly on the scores here, we had a lot of engagement, the most engagement with Gates of Zendokon, and so Eat Electric Death had the top score on easy mode with 174,372 points. I had 165,190. Skoush had 132,404. And then Corkman77 had 124,669. Hard mode, I topped out at 11,716,300. Eat Electric Death had 7,683,700. And then Skoush had 3,918,600 points. And sadly, I was the only person to submit a score for Zarla Mercenary, but at the end of my 1cc run, I ended the game with 1,013,805 Zarbits. So thank you to all who participated and submitted scores. Final thoughts?
For me or for you, sir?
Well, go ahead.
All right. I have to say that despite all this, I am glad I tried both games. Gates of Zendikon might be something I might get more enjoyment out of if I wasn't playing on a Mister and didn't have it playing over and over again with that music for so long. But it caused problems because everything felt sluggish, and it just... It's the fact that I had to scroll up and scroll down to be able to see the entire screen. Sometimes I would scroll up and just get hit by something. Just didn't strike me as very good. I was like, okay, so you're playing on the Lynx. Could this have been a vertical scrolling and made things a little bit easier since you had that control? And like, what would the initial thing be? And all I could talk about is the fact that I played it on a Mister on a TV screen with a soundbar that should have been turned on. But right, I want to find out what its original artistic intent was before I can say this game's terrible or you shouldn't play this. I would like to get an idea of playing it on that postcard, or heck, at this point in time, a business card size screen before putting it there. But playing on a Mister, it's not a good time, for at least for me, as it has ears within the way that the gameplay goes, where you shouldn't have to scroll on a horizontally scrolling shmup. I shouldn't have to scroll up and down, or if there is, it should be mitigated. It felt like it was almost 2 screens worth, and that's where it sort of broke for me. That said, the music wasn't that great, but as you said, the sound effects or the speech in it was really good. I did like the intro sequence. It just felt like it didn't have a lot to offer versus Azar the Mercenary, which seemed to have a lot of the same elements at first, but then I felt it was sort of like taking a page from Rampage. Rampage has you destroying cities, and then you've got stuff that's shooting at you. It's almost like you could call it a shmup adjacent in some ways, right? What you're trying to eat them is to get health. You're avoiding stuff, but the whole point is to get as much destruction as possible and to get that number racked up. And it sort of makes me wonder if we had, what was it, World Tour, and we had some sort of universal one that were popular during the N64 and PS1. And there were also arcade versions, but if Rampage were to come back, if that type of stuff would show up where you could get stuff to buy in the shop based upon how much destruction you did, that would be a neat thing for me to see with Rampage. But going back to Azar the Mercenary, it had a lot more going on that you could do. And it's like, oh, okay, so I destroyed this part here, but maybe I should go over here and do this so that way I get either more score or I need to be at this spot. There was a lot more variety to the gameplay and stuff that you could do. And who doesn't, maybe it also does a little bit of the inner kid in me when you've got a big block tower and you start going around knocking it down. This game helped me unleash my inner Godzilla. Everybody's got that where it's just you got something up there you want to destroy and knock it down. And even Minecraft sort of scratches some of this itch, right? Where you go in a place and you start knocking down and destroying, but it certainly has its own issues as well, right? Getting through that stage 1 can certainly be an issue because you're, depending upon who you picked as your pilot, you don't have enough power up to really make an impact until you get into that first shop. So that can be difficult. There is a little bit of the scrolling that goes left and right, maybe a little bit too much that should have been narrowed down. Or maybe with the Lynx, since they're the option, that could have been a vertical scrolling game as well. But overall, to me, the Mercenary is a stronger game because it has a little bit more variety in the way it goes, and musically as well. It's not like a huge leap, but it's enough there. It also It gave me the idea of this is more like a shmup version of Rampage. And I will tell you, I back on the NES version, even on the Master System, I played the heck out of Rampage. So this one by far wins for me, at least for the month of January.
Sure. Yeah, this is one of those things that these two games in particular, but really a lot of the early Lynx stuff, I kind of coveted these as a kid. I have distinct memories of lying on the floor at my grandpa and grandma's house, thumbing through the Sears Wish Book and the JCPenney catalogs and looking at all the Game Boy and NES and Sega Master System and, Atari stuff. And they had Atari Lynx system and games as part of the catalog that you could order. And so, I always thought these games look cool and they were something that I wanted to play. But of course, I never owned a Lynx as a kid. And so I've only ever really just briefly messed with these games a little bit in emulation. Finally covering them for the podcast this here in January, I played the Steam versions. And since you mentioned the sound, I will say the Steam versions do have a couple of quality of life features, like the ability to adjust your sound and volumes and things, and there's some CRT filters and some stuff like that you can use to change the appearance a little bit. I don't know if CRT filter is the right word, but there are some options. The other thing that the Steam version helped with was you could, because both games could be set, or you have the option on a standard Xbox style controller to have multiple fire buttons. I set with Gates of Zendokon, I set one fire button I configured with auto fire that my stick has built in, and then I left the other one just standard. Because, of course, since 3 of the 4 sub-weapons require you to press a button each time you use them, you can kind of abuse that and have auto fire set up. Your laser will constantly be toggling on and off, but it still fires enough that you get a pretty good arsenal with that. And then, of course, there are times when you need that laser to be constant, or in levels where the sonic dart is more important, and then it fires constantly, so you can just, mow down everything by holding your button down without a secondary auto fire. Similarly, in Zarla Mercenary, the laser weapon that we mentioned during the description, that has no auto fire. Even if you collect the auto fire power-up, it does not have auto fire capability. And so I set the laser button to auto fire because it only targets air-based enemies, but it would be ridiculous to sit there and continually tap the B button to try and hit air-based enemies with that. And so I just set that to auto fire. And so once I collected auto fire power-ups for the main weapon, then I could just literally hold both buttons down and, just kind of not even think about having to target anything. I could just kind of move around the screen and just fire away. So those quality of life features, I would say, improved the experience for me. I'm also, as I said, playing on the Steam versions on my big 65-inch OLED, and so they scale to 4K quite nicely, and you get huge chunky pixels and whatnot. I thought for being such low resolution games, I still felt like they looked reasonably good. And of course, I can imagine what they might have played like and looked like on that small screen back in the day, having spent a reasonable amount of time with the Game Boy and then some time with the Game Gear. I'm kind of in a similar headspace as Eat Electric Death in that I'm not sure that you can call these games good, but I would say both of them have a certain janky charm that I appreciate. Gates of Zendokon is interesting for a lot of reasons. The music gets repetitive because it's a small handful of songs that plays on different stages, and so you're going to hear each song in the game 2 or 3 times depending on the length of the run. And some of the backgrounds are pretty uninteresting and whatnot, but honestly, it's a very unique experience. There's nothing really else that plays like it, and so I would say it's still worth experiencing regardless. The game has problems for sure. The difficulty spike with the Zeta stage and that penultimate wall boss is nasty. And the Zendokon fight, it weirdly can be easier than that previous fight just because of the, once you kind of get a rhythm for how to fight Zendokon, that can actually be an easier fight. The thing that frustrates me about Gates of Zendokon the most is that hard mode is literally just everything is faster and bullets and projectiles are faster, which makes a handful of stages in the game very, very difficult. I think you really have to lean on your shield quite a bit in those stages, and that gets dicey because of the fact that your shield needs time to recharge. I still think a clear on hard is possible, so at some point I'd like to go back and do it, but I would say unless you really want to have that achievement, it's probably not worth putting the time in to do that. But an easy clear, I would say, is a relatively casual experience, minus a couple of things. And the added bonus of that secret stage with the developer heads floating around is kind of a fun detail, and one of those things that I think is nice to see in games of that vintage. Zarler Mercenary, I agree with you. It is probably the better of the two games, although it has its own issues. Because it is very Euro shmup in its design, you're gonna take hits. I mean, it's literally impossible to not take hits in the game, and it can be frustrating at times. The Stage 3 boss fight is total garbage, and I think about half the time it's a crapshoot as to whether or not you're going to survive that fight and not lose a ship. The final boss fight is also very difficult, and when I did my 1cc run, the main way that I got through that is that I just hoarded bombs, and then when I got there, I literally set off 7 or 8 bombs, and I had that final boss downed within, 10 seconds or something like that. Because you're not going to last very long with the final boss if you're not coming at it all guns blazing and bombs in tow, because it's gonna fire both barrels at you pretty handily. But the shop system, the weapon system, all of that's interesting and definitely worth checking out. My suggestion, Drake Tungsten said use the Android. My suggestion is to go with Landrew because of that power shot, permanent power shot. The power shot's more expensive in the shop, and even though there are a couple of stages in the game that give you the power shot, including the first stage, you really need the extra firepower that gives you, because again, the Euro shmup tendencies mean that everything is tankier and takes more hits to take out. But honestly, I think it's a reasonably well-designed game, minus some weird difficulty spikes in a couple of spots, and that stage 3 boss fight. But yeah, it's a relatively good time, and once you kind of get the hang of the flow of the game, you understand about the power-ups stacking and all of that, it's easy enough to equip yourself well enough that you can, even if you take a death or two, you can still continue on and not feel like you're totally underpowered. And so I appreciate at least the flexibility that the devs gave you to customize your ship and your loadout and kind of play it the way you want. And so Xarla Mercenary is definitely the stronger of the two games, but I still think both are worth playing, even today, because each one can be had on Steam for $5. And like you said, you can play it on the Mister or like the Analog Pocket, and of course that Nintendo Switch compilation. And so, yeah, I think they're still worth experiencing, even if just to get a sense of maybe what a mobile or handheld shmup could be at that time. Because, of course, up to that point, really all we had was the first Nemesis game on the Game Boy. And you really didn't see a lot more that was high quality until you got later in the Game Boy's life with stuff like Zaz or the Nemesis 2, Gradius Interstellar Assault, or something like Battle Unit Zeoth. And so, yeah, I mean, interesting games, worth checking out, but probably not games that most players would want to spend the time to 1cc, even though both are eminently doable, and I managed both during the course of the month.
Yeah, I think that, again, my experience was something a little bit similar, where I would see the Atari Lynx inside the glass case at Toys R Us and say, wow, that looks amazing from the demos on here. But I think what we're really looking at is it's a window or a time capsule into what a European, or let's say a westernized shmup would look like, because all this stuff was created by European or American developers, right? This wasn't any Japanese stuff. So this is American takes on shmups. And it's very, and even the games on the Link itself really aren't like anything else, right? Atari games post, let's say, the 2600 sort of became their own thing, and not a lot of people have played this. It wasn't until in the mid 2000s that I eventually got my Link. Of course, it's a nice paperweight because I still need to get mine repaired. But or even the Jaguar, or all the cool people call it the Jag, right? Those type of experiences just aren't really seen by much, right? With the Atari 7800, the 5200, and the Jag, along with the Lynx, there are so few people that bought this and actually have them, as at least compared to the Game Boy or the Game Gear. It's sort of a lost world and a lost window, and it's interesting that we have these to get the US-centric version, because so much of history or console history is written from the Japanese perspective.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think that I would have had probably a better time. Would I have had a much better time? Who knows? But I would have had a better time had I played them on Steam. or even tried them on the original console. Plus, I don't. It's always hard when you're coming back to something like this that has been done before, but that you didn't have any type of actual interaction with, because it's a lot harder to forgive any faults without the drug of nostalgia.
True.
It's like, oh yeah, this is. I mean, as proved even with our comments, right? Oh yeah, I used to play this all the time on there. This is great for when reminds me of when I was playing on the bus, going up to ski trips in Colorado. That's a hugely different take, where you're going to be a lot more forgiving of stuff than, oh, I played in 2026 on the Mister and a huge screen, and it started to play surround sound Lynx music, which maybe feel like I wanted to listen to the Meow Mix song instead. So, it's a very different take in set of circumstances. So, from a historical perspective and trying them out and trying something different, absolutely. I think it's great that they're there. Is it something that I'm going to find myself coming back to? No, but is it something I'm glad I tried? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, moving on. What have we got coming out? Well, we just wrapped up February 2026, so we got to do the one for this soon. But we did the Devil Blade reboot, and hopefully everyone had a good time. I still like this game. It's certainly on the easier side. It definitely has a lot of flash to it, but it's still a lot of fun to play. The only thing that got me is that guy talking every time. He's like, "God does not abide by your ship," talking. It just reminded me of like this 80s camp, because I halfway expect someone to insert into there, "I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time." And stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It just makes me start cracking up every time. It's very over the top. So we'll get to that shortly. Hope everyone had a good time. And then for March, we're doing Netsuki Chronicles, because at 14, you can save the world.
Yes. All I have to say is, "I'll get you next time, Gadget."
There you go, Dr. Craw. All right. All right. I'd like to thank everybody who played the games for the month of January and February. Thank you, everybody, for listening, because without you, this podcast would just be two people yelling into the void, which... I tried it with my wife, just telling her about shmups, but she didn't like it as much. So, all right. I'd like to thank Etrim for the logo, everyone for the podcast shirts, Kogosu for the intro and outro music, and of course MetalFRO for streaming when he can.
Yes. Hopefully, streaming will resume a little bit more of my frequency here in March, so that I can play a little bit more. Since I didn't get a stream at all the last week of February, I missed my window on some of the time I would have had with Devil Blade Reboot, but we'll save that for the next episode.
Excellent.
Anything in particular you want to shout out?
Absolutely. Put the Meow Mix at the end of this episode.
There you go. I'd like to say just a shout out to a bunch of new members in the Discord, and also some devs who are in the Discord. Shout out to Eden Cruz, who I think is getting close to releasing his game Hops Awakening, and actually he gave me a code for that so I could play an early build, and managed to play through that. Probably going to do another run or two just to check that out, and had some fun with that. And so looking forward to seeing that finally hit Steam. And then also, I got to shout out Eric Bailey, who joined the Discord recently. I've been following him on social media forever, and actually, his original Nintendo Legend project was the inspiration that got me into the whole Game Boy Guru thing. And one of my inspirations for podcasting was his old gaming podcast. He used to run a site called One More Castle, and then he and several others did a podcast in conjunction with that called One More Podcastle, and I always looked forward to seeing that come up in my feed. And so when the site kind of shut down and when the podcast ended, I was bummed. But that was one that was a big deal for me a number of years ago. And so anyway, it's kind of come full circle now, because now he's joined our Discord, and he has started game development here in the last couple of years. And so he is kind of slowly working on a new shmup. And so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I've kind of been watching updates on social media. And so anyway, looking forward to maybe playing that game at some point once that releases.
Very nice.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess we'll say thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.
I was going to add, please understand, but that word.
Meow Mix comes in 2 varieties, original and seafood middles. A medley of mackerel, tuna, and crunchy centers bursting with seafood flavor. Meow Mix tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.